Hey, 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 you know what day it is? What day is it? It's Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. It's Tuesday Tea with D. 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 Tuesday Tea with Tuesday tea with D. Hey boo hey, it's your girl Detra Trueheart, your life purpose generator, purpose provoker, your personal life strategist and life coach here with another dose and serving of Tuesday Tea with D. Don't mind me over here. I'm just maneuvering some things, bringing my microphone a little bit closer because she is far away. And so, how are you today? How are you today? So, this week we are talking about the mid-year check-in because, honey, listen, we are about to be done with the first half of 2024. But not only that, we are officially over the hump in June of 2024, and we are into the last few days, second half of June in 2024. And I just want to have a conversation today around where are you, right? Before I jump in, as you can tell, I am really excited about this conversation. I'm excited every week, right? We, of course, are going to talk about the tea. Had a little, I got a little, get the frog out my throat. Some tea. Okay, there it is. There it is. um, this is good. So this is my spicy cedar. I can't remember what it's called. It's one of my loose teas, but I got the spiciness in it because my throat is itching like crazy. I ran out of peppermint tea, and I have to get some more. And so I have some honey. And you know what? I didn't even put any lemon in here because I added a specialty sugar. And so I don't know if you've been around long enough. For 2 years ago, I went to Hilton Head for my retreat that I had called the Sabbath Retreat. And I'm really thinking about bringing it back. And so while I was there, there's a space where you can get like specialty loose teas, but they also have flavored sugars. And so in here, in addition to my honey, I have the peach on a beach sugar. And so that's why I'm like, wait, this is tasting a little like I'm not tasting the lemon, but I taste a little like a little twang in there. And that's exactly what it is, honey. That's that peach on the beach sugar. So the tea is teaing and it's so good. How are you? Let me start off just by saying thank you for being here. Make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube channel. We are officially at 102. I believe this is 102, our 102nd episode and dose of Tuesday Tea with D. And so one of the things that I love about this is the opportunity for you to go back, right? And you literally, if I don't do another episode, could go back and just binge on those 100 episodes in the same way, child. You be binging on all the things, the Bridgertons, the Suits, the what else is out that I see the people watching? The Game of Thrones. Now I think the new thing is the House of Dragons, which I've never watched. All the things, right? Whether it's on Prime, whether it's on Amazon, it's on Netflix, whether it's on Peacock, like all the streaming sites. You can come on over here to YouTube and you can come on over to Trueheart Speaks TV. You like that, right? And you can binge on 100 episodes for the next 100 days. You literally every single day can binge on an episode every single day, or you can just binge on them like you binge on the other ones, right? I don't know what that's like binging on 100 episodes. I don't know how long you'd have to stay up. But at any rate, just helping you to get out of your own way, helping you to show up, helping you to live life in and on purpose, helping you to get your faith right, your spirit right, get your soul right, your life right, all the things right. And so I just want to say thank you, but make sure you are subscribing. Make sure you like the videos. Make sure you comment on the videos and make sure you share. You know, I'm going to share this at the end. I'm going to ask you at the end, but definitely make sure you're sharing it with your peeps. Okay. Before we jump in, I definitely no, I'm gonna wait until the end to talk about the inner circle. But as you know, I will share this really quickly. Make sure you are subscribed to my TextFam. You can go to 833-447-0492. Text the word hey so that we can stay connected. I hadn't been sharing that often, but I wanted to share it today simply because we don't know what's going on in these social media streets. And if something should happen, I want to make sure that I can reach out and touch somebody's text, right? So that if you don't know that song, I'm definitely dating myself. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. If you don't know that, Google it and then let me know, right? But you should, because we are of like minds and people, okay? But I want to be able to reach out and touch you, right? And then I should believe that should also connect you to my email address. I do have an automation connected to that, so you can, not my email address, but my email list. So make sure you do that as well. Okay. So let's jump into today's conversation because I'm really excited to jump in today's conversation. Let me take another swig of this good old tea. Honey, y'all, this is so good. This is why you need to come to iSpeaklife Live so that we can have tea time with D on Friday night. Honey, it's so good, right? And I'm thinking about planning something special this year on that Friday night. So, but in addition to that, we have tea together. And so I need you to be there because it's good. Okay, so mid-year check-in. So as I was thinking about this, and as I think when I talked about this last Tuesday, when I was saying that I was thinking about doing, because we were already in June, we were in the last month of the second quarter, and also in this last month of the first half of 2024. And so now we are over the hump. We are less than 15 days away from closing out the first half of 2024. And I want to do a pulse check. I want to do a check-in. I want to see how you are. I want to see where you are. And I also want to make sure, obviously, I'm going to offer opportunities to serve you because, like, why wouldn't I, right? If I know that you are in a space where you need support, why wouldn't I offer it to you? So outside of that, I really want you to think about where you were January 1st. If you were with me, we were doing 21 days of prayer, honey. And them first 21 days were extremely power packed, right? Our theme was elevated pressure. We had 21 speakers for 21 days, one powerful experience. And then we transitioned into the rest of the year. And, by March or April, honey, we tired because it's a lot going on. And I don't know about you, but even June, there is a lot going on. There are weddings happening. There are bridal showers happening. There are baby showers happening. There are revivals happening. There are conferences happening. There are graduations happening, graduation parties happening. There are proms happening, honey. All of the things are happening, right? My son is in flag football, so the kids are in extracurricular activities. Depending upon where you live, your child could be in a summer camp or a summer program. And so in this space, sometimes what we were looking to do in the beginning of the year gets lost. Literally a quarter to midway through, we're like, man, like I haven't really accomplished everything that I said that I wanted to accomplish. And sometimes it's just we forget, like around this time, there's a whole lot happening, right? And so I'm going to pause really quickly and just say, if by some chance I need tissue to, blow my nose or something, these sinuses are sinusing. My eyes are actually itching right now. So if I seem like I'm blinking a lot, child, while you are watching this, it's because my allergies are kicking in. Okay. But outside of that, getting back to the conversation, even just in that, right? Like making the adjustments around everything that's happening. So even like this week, this is the last week, next Tuesday, last day of school for my son. And so because of the heat, full days have now been made half days. So the kids are in school for 3.5 hours. And so, as a parent, or those of you who are parents, like you have to make adjustments, right? Things that you didn't plan for. And so I want to just do a mid-year check-in just to see where you are, how you are, what you have going on. And I really want to encourage you to check in with yourself. So take some time to just think about what you've accomplished. Think about maybe what you didn't get a chance to accomplish, maybe what you started but you didn't get a chance to finish. Because just because we start something doesn't mean we have to wait until December to finish it, right? So the goal might have been to finish it by, the end of quarter one, and we didn't, right? And so now we're in quarter two and it's still not done. And so taking some time to think about, like, what did you experience? What did you start? What did you finish? What didn't you finish? What is still ongoing, right? So the finish line is either at the end of the year or there is no finish line. Like, the goal is just to kind of be consistent in a specific thing. Like, for me, there is no finish line with walking. There is no finish line with drinking water. There is no finish line with, my morning devotional time, my prayer time. There is no finish line with reading outside of what different book I'm going to read, but I'm always going to read. And so I'm really looking to get back into reading daily. And so for you, do a check-in with yourself with what you said you wanted to do. Did you do it? If you didn't do it, why didn't you do it? What were the hindrances? Were there things that you could control? Were there things that you couldn't control? Was it a combination? Was it maybe you had to make some adjustments in your life? And so whether you are a parent, whether you are parenting your parents, like as a caregiver, like all of those things we want to take into consideration when we think about, man, like, I didn't do everything that I really wanted to do. And it really wasn't because I wasn't able to, or because I was slacking. I really just wasn't able, right? That's where the grace comes in, because sometimes we can be so hard on ourselves to a point of where we don't accomplish a thing, but we forget everything that's going on. I remember it took me a minute to get back on track coming out of my event at the very beginning of December. And then the very next day, my dad having a procedure that we did not know was a 12-week recovery process. And so 12 weeks is technically like 3 months, which means for me, coming out of that, my rest time, my prep time for 21 days of prayer, my prep time for my incubator high-level coaching program in February, all of those things I had to make concessions for. I did them, but with the energy. And so like at the end of February or sometime in February, March, I shut down for a little bit because I was exhausted. But things happened that I had no control over and I didn't know. So when you look at what you want to do and how you wanted to do a thing, take that into consideration, right? When you think about, and maybe like there were some fun things, like sometimes it's like, man, like I didn't get a chance to do this, but I really got a chance to do this. And I really had fun doing this. Like, there were some things that I did this year that were really fun and really exciting. And for me, I felt like overshadowed some of the stuff that I didn't get done. And so in what ways can you think about, like, okay, I did this and I didn't do this, but I got to do this. I got to experience this, right? It's kind of like reframing, right? And so instead of only focusing on what didn't happen, let's focus on what did, right? And even in the things that didn't happen, let's be honest about why it didn't happen, because sometimes if you really were slacking, sometimes you really weren't doing the work. Clutching my pearls. Sometimes, you did procrastinate, right? And you waited to the last minute. But at the same time, maybe that wasn't the case. But the only way that you'll be able to do that is to really sit with yourself to kind of figure out like what worked, what didn't work. The reason why we want to start doing that now is because you don't want to wait until July 1st to say, okay, now that I'm here, what do I want to do? We're now less than 15 days into July 1st or going into July 1st. And so we want to start thinking about, okay, are these the same goals from the first 6 months? Am I taking this into the second half of 2024? Is there anything that I'm not taking into 2024? Is there anything that I need to stop doing in this second half of 2024? Is there anything that I need to start doing in this second half of 2024? In addition to that, who or what do I need in order for me to do what I need to do in 2024? Because we know that no man is an island. We know that we need community. We know we need coaching. We know we need support. We know we need help. Help is not a 4-letter word that we should shun, right? Help doesn't equal weakness. And so In what ways do we need support or more support in the second half of 2024? I know I'm giving you a lot to think about, but I'd love for you to come back to this. Maybe sit in your backyard, sit on your porch, maybe in your prayer closet, in your quiet space in your home, in your car, by the water, wherever you can kind of get clarity and it is quiet for you and peaceful for you. And it's a space of solitude where you can really sit and you can reflect. And in addition to that, I also want you to check in with yourself, right? So, what does that look like as it relates to the time that you are spending with yourself? What does that look like in the time that you are spending with God, right? So, have I been slacking? Have things been going well? Do I have things been going well, but I want to do more? I know for me, I've really been talking to God. There are some books that I bought a couple of books, some apologetic books, and I have not started reading them yet because just life, I just have a lot going on right now. And I really have been asking God what it looks like for me to be able to have the margin to really be able, even just to study the word the way that I desire to study the word without like sacrificing my work, right? Because some days I want to just spend a whole day studying, a whole day dissecting the word, a whole day like just, you know what I'm saying? Like in his presence. And so what does that look like? And so I've been in prayer around like I've been spending time with you. I've been studying, but I'm feeling this tug to go deeper. What does that look like? Does that mean that I have to maybe, not do some of this in order to do that? And it might mean that, right? Are there places that I can't go so that I can really sit in this space? Like, I don't know, but I really have been quieting myself so that I can have clarity around that. And so for you, what does that look like, right? Do you have margin for the things that you desire to do, or do you need to move some stuff around, right? We only have 24 hours in a day and we only have a certain amount of energy, right? There's a certain amount of time, a certain amount of energy. And so in that, taking that into consideration, like take some time to sit with that and say, okay, Lord, well, in addition to that, it's like, Lord, I want to spend more time with you, but also make sure that you're talking to him about not just spending time with him, but like what you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, so when you say, okay, this second half of the year, these are some of the things that I really want to do. These are some of the things that I really want to continue doing. Should I be doing this, Lord? Like, make sure, remember, and I don't remember what episode it was, how back it was, but how far back. But remember, we talked about co-creating our lives with God, making sure that we don't leave him out, making sure that we don't make plans and then ask him to come in. And we're mad when things don't work out, but we didn't include him, right? I was just reading today in Second Chronicles where it was basically, there was a command, I think it's chapter 16, 14, 15, 16, I think I was reading. And it was where King Asa, in I think chapter 16, and they were talking about his reign and how he did all of the things that were pleasing to the Lord. And there was another king who was coming up against him, who was a lot more mightier than him. And they basically came around them and they had them blocked in on it says like the front and the back and the rear or the side, whatever it was, they were all over. They were surrounded by their enemies. And they cried out. And it basically says the Lord heard them, heard their cry. They cried out. And the Lord heard them, and he came to their rescue. And so it says, when they cried out, the trumpets, they blew the trumpets, and the Lord came, and basically the Lord won the war for them. And there's a part where it basically says that as long as when you seek me, you will find me. Like if you continue to seek me and you continue to be with me for your, and you commit yourself to me with your whole heart, I will be with you. But if you abandon me, I will abandon you. And so I've been reading, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Chronicles. Now I'm in 2 Chronicles. And I've been reading, and really, in some instances, my heart is grieved because one of the things that God really just wanted, he wanted his people to be committed to him. And he wanted them not to, worship other idols or other gods or commit to anybody else but him. And when they did, he made a promise to them that I would turn you over to your enemy. And so in these spaces, when we are having this mid-year check-in, are there idols, right? Whether it's your job, your children, whether it's your business, whatever the case may be, are there moments where where you have not intentionally but unintentionally been worshiping other idols, right? Are there other things that you have placed above God? You making plans, but you have not considered God in those plans. This is a different conversation, but I just feel the need to bring this in this mid-year conversation, because I really want us to understand that in some instances, this mid-year check-in, you really have to make sure, like, did some things not happen because I didn't include God? Did some things happen because these were things that I wanted, but they weren't things that he, you know what I'm saying, that he approved of? And so make sure you are including him in that as well, right? So I'm not going to keep us long. Make sure that you are just, during this mid-year check-in, checking in with yourself, checking in with God, making sure that how you spend your time and how you spent your time is how you wanted to spend your time. And also, if there are things that need to be improved, if there are things that you need to get rid of, like for me, this whole process of decluttering, even for me, like I'm continuing the process of decluttering. And so in continuing the process of decluttering, it's, really deciding, like, do I really need this? And so some instances when you are doing the mid-year check-in, like, do you really need it? Like, are there some people you need to declutter from? Are there some things you need to declutter from? Are there some places you need to declutter from? Like, all of the things. And be honest with yourself about that, because sometimes in this mid-year check-in, we start to panic because it's like, man, it's the mid-year. And so I want to encourage you again to grant yourself grace, because sometimes you just need to kind of like take the time to pause and not rush into a thing, and really take some time to, because sometimes the other reason why we get caught up in doing the same thing in the second half is because we didn't take time to reflect on the first half. So take some time to reflect on the first half of the year, the first half of this month, right? And think about, right, all of the things. What worked? What didn't work? Why did it work? Why didn't it work? What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to keep doing? What do you need to tweak? Who and what do you need in order to make this thing happen? And maybe who and what do you need to get rid of in order to move forward? And then even just like, what is God saying to you about this new space that you're in? Right? So with that being said, make sure you let me know after you've taken some time to do this. And if there are other things that you feel like you need to check in on, like, so there's, do you need to check in on you physically, like on your body, your mind, your spirit, your finances, your relationships, your job, your business? Like, think of all of the different things that you need to like kind of check in on, and take some time to kind of reflect. You got 15 days, right? So you've got time. Don't rush it, but make sure you do it, which is why we do this every fourth Tuesday in the inner circle. And so if you're not a member of the inner circle, you want to, and this is something that you're not used to doing, I want to encourage you to do it. I want to encourage you to jump into it. I want to encourage you to get in community so that you can start making time for yourself to not only reflect on the year, but to reflect each and every month. We reflect on the previous month, and then we take some time to think about what we want the next month to look like, simply because we're not conditioned or trained or prepared for doing that for our lives. But a lot of times we do that on in our businesses and our companies, right? So it's like, okay, well, what did we meet our goals? What do we need to do in order to hit our goals? And so it's not something we're not unfamiliar with. It's just we're not familiar with doing it in our own personal lives. And that is something that for me is very important for us to do, because it's important for us to reflect. It's important for us to sit. It's important for us to have think time, which a lot of times we don't give ourselves time to do. So with that being said, again, I'm going to share this. I would love for you to join us. So remember, I'm talking about the inner circle all month long. This is our 4-month anniversary. And this is my membership and my mentorship community of faith, created and designed to help push, provoke, and propel high-performing and high-capacity Christian women to take an active role, right, in the freedom and fulfillment and clarity that they desire in life, business, and ministry, right? I know that you want freedom and fulfillment. I know that you want clarity. And so that comes, with the live trainings every month. It comes with the co-working space sessions that we do every month. It comes with, sometimes I do pop-up Q&As, pop-up coaching calls every single month or every quarter. And so again, there are close to like, there are, let's just say 3 years worth of trainings in there. And so you can literally go in and get what you need depending upon where you are in the season. But let me just say this, you gotta be a self-starter, right? This is not a space where we're doing hand holding. I don't do any spaces of hand holding, let me say that. And so if you're coming in and you're thinking like, oh, I'm gonna coddle and I'm gonna hold your hand, this is not the space for you. I am not your person. I don't do that. And so you got to come in ready to do the work. You got to come in ready to receive. You got to come in ready to reflect, right? And it may be uncomfortable. You got to make the time for it. And so if you don't make the time for it, it doesn't work if you don't work it. And so I love for you to become a part of the inner circle. You can go to iSpeaklifeinnercircle.com, iSpeaklifeinnercircle.com, and the membership is $47 a month or $470 for the year. And community, accountability, training, prophetic impartation, all of those things happen in the inner circle. And so this again is membership and mentorship. And so, I ask hard questions, I give you we have challenging conversations, and then we create space for the women, for you all to be able to connect, right? So make sure that if you're thinking about it, join. Right. This is our 4-year anniversary. And so I'm actually going to be talking about it all year, but literally talking about this all month. Right. I want the ladies who are assigned to me to take the jump, join the inner circle, and join us every second and fourth Tuesday for teaching, training, community, accountability, all the things. Right. And so with that being said, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you are commenting and liking this video and this serving of tea. And then also make sure you are sharing this with how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? People, so that they can also get what they need for the mid-year check-in, right? We want to be ready on July 1st. We don't want to be getting ready on July 1st. And so that's why I'm having this conversation with you now. And for you to take some time really just to reflect, go through your calendar, look at all of the things that you experience, look at your journal if you journal, and really just think back, right? If you need to go back into your Facebook posts or your Instagram posts just to see what you've been doing and what that has looked like, then I want you to do that. But I want you to take some time to reflect. I really want you to take some time to reflect because it's necessary, right? That's all I'm gonna say. It's necessary. And I think that when we don't reflect, we lose opportunities to grow, we lose opportunities to evolve, and we also lose opportunities to improve, right? And so you can't make something better if you don't take the time to measure, to reflect, to research, right, to inspect. And so if you don't take time to do that, then you don't know what's right. You don't know what's wrong. You don't know what you need to tweak. You don't know what you need to take away. Sometimes it's a who, right? To sit down and say, okay, well, who exactly caused this issue, right? We do that on our jobs, especially if that's like what one of our like roles, but in our lives, right? Like sometimes the who is you, like, man, like I'm the reason why this is going on. And so it's good to be able to do that now as opposed to waiting until the end of the year and like, dang, like why didn't I tweak this in March or in June or in September, right? At the end of each quarter or at the end of each month in the inner circle. So that I'm not doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, right? So with that being said, I hope that, today's tea was exactly what you needed. And even if it wasn't exactly what you needed, it was what you needed. And it was helpful, right? For you to be able to sit down and to reflect and just take stock of where you've been, take stock of what you've been doing, who you've been doing it with, how you've been doing it, where you've been doing it, why you've been doing it. And then also, think about how you want to move into the second half of this year with that information. Okay. So thank you for joining me again. And I will see you next time on Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D.